Welcome back, and thank you so much for being here today. I hope you are doing well, and if you are listening to me for the first time today, then let me tell you I am Ryan Mukherjee. By profession, I am a sales and marketing manager. Earlier, I co-founded 2 agencies. Along with my team, we helped 30 plus brands in scaling to 7 plus figures in revenue. And the show you are listening is Voice of Masters. One burning question that has been a long time on my mind, it is that those who are in their late 20s all have a desire to getting rich. I know this is the time when we really speak about how to become rich in our life, and we wanted to do in such a way that we can create it in a very short period of time. So I've been reading stuffs around it, and one of the things that caught my attention that Morgan Housel's a few laws of getting rich, and I'll make it easy for both you and me in this episode. There are 13 divorces among the 10 richest men in the world. 7 of the top 10 have been divorced at least once. So the correlation is not causation, and the sample size is tiny. But at statistics, that is so much worse than the national average. On a topic so fundamental that to happiness among a group whose lives are envied by so many, and is interesting, isn't it? There are a million ways to get rich, most of which involve exploiting specific niche and one of opportunities. To say nothing of luck, universal rules about how to get rich are hard to come by. But losing money or losing happiness when you have money or becoming a slave to your money, those stories tend to have common denominators. They are so common you can call them a loss. Measuring wealth is easy. You just count it up. Measuring some of the downsides of wealth is so much harder and more nuanced. They can be so nuanced and hard to measure that many people won't even believe they exist. A downside to wealth? How could that possibly be? Okay, so let me propose that absurdity of talking about the downside of wealth is part of why wealth doesn't tend to make people as happy as they thought it would. When the benefits of money are so obvious, but the downsides are so subtle, the downside you didn't anticipate can be more jarring than the benefits you expected. I want more money, of course. Almost everyone does, albeit for different reasons. This is not an anti-wealth list, just some of the collection of subtle downsides that are easy to ignore and so common that you may as well we call them the only true loss of getting rich. Most of what makes you happy in life has nothing to do with money. And realizing that once you have money can be a painful admission. Will Smith wrote in his biography that when he was poor and depressed, he could dream about a future where he had more money, and that money making his problems go away. Once he was rich, that optimism was gone. He had all the money he could ever need, and he was still depressed. His life was still filled with problems. So happiness is complicated. But if you simplify it into things like loving family, friendship, 8 hours of sleep, well-balanced children, and being part of something bigger than yourself, you realize how limited money's role can be. It's not that it has no role, just smaller than you may assumed. Think of it this way. Would you rather make $100,000 a year with a spouse who loves you, children who admire you, good friends, good health, and a clear conscience? Or you make $100,000 and have none of these things? It's so obvious, right? Let's put it one more zero. You may figure out the things very easily. Of course, you can be poor and miserable or rich and happy. But only the rich are aware of how tenuous that relationship can be. Gaining money probably didn't fix your marriage. It didn't make your friends like you more. It didn't make you more fulfilled. So what used to be comforting optimism about what money could do for you is replaced by the stark reality of what it can't. Sometimes the dream is what feels good, and once you have hit it, the dream is gone and you actually become depressed. Malcolm Forbes said, by the time we have made it, we have had it. Loss number 2. What you think is admiration of what your success may actually be envy. The rapper Drake once said, unquote, people like you more when you are working towards something, not when you have it. It can be hard to tell when that transition takes place, and it's common for a rich person to think they are being admired when they are actually envied. This is especially true when what made you rich was some form of advertising your success in a way that made others want to help and support you. When admiration turns to envy, that support gone, and people's tolerance of your errors shrinks. If a no-name journalist wrote a book defending Sam Bankman-Fried, no one would care. They may have actually congratulated the author. But since Michael Lewis did, the pitchforks came out. Loss number 3. The richer you become, the less likely people around you are to tell you when you are wrong, crazy, mean, or oblivious. Matt Damon said, unquote, you retard socially and emotionally the moment you become famous. Your experience of the world is never the same. This may be true and far more common for those who become wealthy. No one ever treats you the same, and the worst part is you may not even know it. Warren Buffett once explained, I was at my best at giving financial advice when I was 21 years old, and the people were not listening to me. I could have gotten up there and said the most brilliant things, and not very much attention would have been paid to me. And now can say that the dumbest thing in the world, and a fair number of people will think there are some great hidden meaning to it or something. Loss number 4. Sometimes what made you successful was worry and anxiety, and you can't let go of that when you are rich. I think what many people really want from money is the ability to stop thinking about money. To have enough money that they can stop thinking about it and focus on the other stuffs. They become obsessed with making money with the hope that someday they can ignore it altogether. That obsession is fueled by stress and anxiety. It often shows up as career ambition, aggressive investing, and type A motivation. Then once they become rich, they realize that they can't let go of that stress. It becomes ingrained in their identity. They work 80 hours a week because they want to eventually never have to work at all. But once they have enough money to retire, they can't cut back because they don't know how to do anything else in life but work. A lot of financial planners I have talked to say one of their biggest challenge is getting clients to spend money on retirement, even an appropriate conservative amount of money. Frugality and savings becomes such a big part of such people's identity that they can't ever switch gears. I think for some people that's actually fine. Watching money compounds give them more pleasure than they would get spending it. But those whose ultimate goal is to stop thinking about money are stuck. Refusing to recognize that you have met your goal can be as bad as never meeting the goal to begin with. Loss number 5. There is no easy way to manage wealth and kids. Charlie Munger was once asked by one of his rich friends if leaving his kids a bunch of money would ruin their drive and ambition. Of course it will, Charlie said, but you still have to do it. Why? That friend asked. Because if you don't give them the money, they will hate you. Like a lot of Munger's advice, I think that this interaction is designed to be memorable. It's probably 80% true. But by and large, he is right. Those are the two options for the rich. Ruin their ambition with the inheritance or risk some form of strife by denying them an easy life. Warren Buffett once said that he often hears rich people talk about how dangerous a welfare society is, creating a generation of moochers reliant on the food stamps and unemployment benefits. But these same people are leaving their kids a lifetime supply of food stamps and beyond. And he said, quote, instead of having a welfare officer, they have a trust fund officer. And instead of having a food stamps, they have stocks and bonds that pay dividends. Of course, there are exceptions, but most of the exceptions rich kids who inherit money and it doesn't impact their ambitions. And because the kids are special, not because the parents necessarily made a smart decision. If 18-year-old Bill Gates inherited $1 billion, it wouldn't have stopped his ambition. Same with Steve Jobs and Elon Musk. Mark Zuckerberg was offered $1 billion cash for Facebook when he was 22 and he didn't blink. Didn't even consider it. But those are the rare birds. Most people never need to be driven by fear of not making it. Loss number 6. Quick wealth is fragile wealth. Double your money in a year? Don't be surprised when you lose half of it as quickly. Two things happen with quick fragile wealth. One is that money that comes easily tends to be spent easily. When money comes quickly, the emotional cost of blowing it on something bad is low. You are only careful with something when it's dear to you. Spending quick money that you didn't invest much more time and energy into earning can feel like the equivalent of one night stand. Impulsive and prone to regret. Old money wants a tax shelter. New money wants a Lambo. The other is that the quicker wealth was made, the higher the odds it came from luck that will revert just as fast. Put those two together, and whenever you see a surge of quick wealth, crypto in 2021 was a good example. You know it's going to be end poorly. Loss number 7. Reputations have momentum in both directions. Because people want to associate with winners and avoid losers. The more successful you are, the more people want to be associated with you, which is great. But that equally powerful in reverse. Someone early in their career can screw up and recover quickly, moving on to the next company. A successful person or a company has each flaw blurred across the news. Lehman Brothers 2008 struggles made front page national news. And a small community bank could have been at its wit's end with hardly a soul aware. It's like saying the higher the monkey climbs on the pole, the more you can see its ads. Loss number 8. Expectation can rise faster than income. So a higher income sends expectations spiraling out of control. Wealth is relative. Luxury is relative. Both are just a comparison between you have and what other people's have. A quirk I have been seeing many times is that some of the wealthiest people are the most prone to expectations spinning out of control because they become hyper aware how the rich people live. Everything good in life is just the gap between expectations and reality. And when your main frame of reference are other rich people trying to impress each other, that gap can close quickly. Isn't it? We are following our prayers only. So the comparison set is very much low. Loss number 9. No one is going to remember you in 100 years. So you might as well focus on what going to make you happy now instead of what money might buy you in the future. There is a Scottish proverb. Be happy while you are living, for you are a long time dead. So that's it for this week. Thanks again for listening. We'll see you next time.